You know, this is actually incredible. No, really, I'm almost impressed. What the actual fuck? Hello everyone, this is VGMaster2 and, so, you know how last time I said that Pokemon would probably give us news in October? Whoops. Yes, viewers, somehow we have received zero official news on Scarlet and Violet's DLC. It's supposed to release in 2023. There's only 2 months left. The half-worthless physical edition literally comes out in a few days. Where's the news? We know you have things to show. The release date, at least. Well, October technically isn't empty. There is a thing. On October 12th, 2023, that patch that Game Freak announced was supposed to fix the 300 battles bug finally came out. Guess what happened before that? No, go ahead. Guess. Guess what happened before they released a patch for one issue? And this one is game-breaking. Kinda. In the final fucking battle of the main game, when you are meant to send out your Rhydon, if you, for whatever reason, scroll onto any of your team members on slots 4 through 6, your game just shits itself and crashes. Now, for people who know what to do, they can just scroll from the top and it'll wrap around to the Rhydon at the bottom and you should be fine. But anyone who doesn't know, or anyone who misclicks, will be subject to a crash. So that's great. Although, apparently, the patch actually fixed that. Or so it says. Which I guess, if it's true, which it actually is impressive that they didn't make us wait a whole ass other month. But that's not even it, because apparently there's also a glitch where spamming the button for the Let's Go feature will just cause the Pokemon to freeze up. It will do nothing and will not return to you unless you swap members. And this is a problem because spamming that feature is an efficient way of clearing the Team Star bases quickly, which you kinda need because the Let's Go areas of the bases are timed. But that isn't even it. Because speaking of Team Star, there is a chance that once you beat the poison base, the loading screen that shouldn't even be necessary may take up to 2 full minutes. We don't know what causes this, and it is random, so good fucking luck. Pray your IRL RNG isn't ass. But that's just great, isn't it? The one bug that they're mainly patching for, I would say is on the lower end of severity. Sure, I can't fucking save more than 300 battles, which might screw me over if I do every single one, but most people wouldn't do every single one. But everyone has to beat Team Star, use the Let's Go feature for Team Star, and beat the final battle, though I guess we can check off that last one. Although given how they touch this game's code at all, I wonder what else will break. What the actual fuck is this game? This is actually proven by the fact that a new bug was discovered after the patch, where if you fly from Area 0 to Kitakami, nothing will spawn. It's actually really funny. It really does just always get worse. Now, that's really it. I was serious about there being basically nothing. But wouldn't be a VGMaster2 video without leaks, right? Right. So here's some leaks. Cutting right to the chase, we've basically deduced that Diplin's evolution is going to be a 7 or maybe 8-headed Hydra. The leaker released hints that seemed to indicate the counting up of heads until we basically reached 7. It should also be noted that he implied that the Pokemon was also going to become a bug dragon type, and also would, obviously, belong to Kieran, who is almost definitely going to be the champion of Blueberry by the time we get there, and maybe each head would reveal itself in a Nyx Avatar-style 7-phase battle. That last one is up in the air, but that's not all. Remember the Momotaro Pokemon? He's only been mentioned up the ass since his discovery. Something I didn't tell you guys in the last news video is that, just like how Terapagos has the codename Kodaikame in the code, Momotaro also has a codename in the code, Dokutaro. Okay, the reason I didn't say that was because we technically don't know if that's him, but there's a 99% chance it is. But there's been more teasers given by the leaker. Apparently, this guy might have another form where he opens up, maybe similar to Minior. Some people think the Tapus. Legendaries getting other forms is a thing, it makes sense, doesn't really matter. And it's probably good that he won't just look like that 24/7. Although apparently he's as powerful as Lucemon Satan mode? Fucking what? How? Are you sure that's Doku? Like, I know Larva is in there, and I can believe he'd get a new form, but Dokutaro? Lucemon? Is this hint actually for Terapagos and people are just misconstruing like fucking retards? Because that would actually make sense and I would not be surprised. Best thing to come from this is that it made Pokemon fans look up Digimon lore, even though the picture's fairly self-explanatory. Hell, this bitch kinda even looks like the picture of Terapagos in the lore books. Still fucking hilarious though. Regardless, people still think that Dokutaro's going to be bigger than he probably will be. Or should be. In role, not size. Yes, there are still people who think this bitch is gonna be responsible for everything, which I can only guess is because they're just going crazy speculating because he's the cool new thing. Basically, a honeymoon phase due to recency bias, instead of, you know, using your fucking brain. I like to think I did a good job covering most of the bases for why this almost literally can't be the case and why it shouldn't happen in the last news video. Go watch it, by the way, it's not totally outdated yet. But I could have also said, and this might have actually bolstered the argument, that Doku can't be the one responsible for everything because his tell is the toxic chains, and the purple energy in general. He literally leaves his mark because the loyal 3 have the toxic chain, which is literally tipped with his image. If that's not there, we have no reason to believe that he will be there, because his literal way of doing things is to have the chain. No chain, no Dokutaro. Or by extension, no purple energy, still no Dokutaro. And oh, look at that! No sign of toxic chains or exclusively purple energy in anything regarding Terapagos or the shit exclusively shown in Area 0. And it's also been hinted by the leaker that that thing we see at the store is actually literally his sleeping form, which means he would have literally been in Kitakami sleeping for centuries, which literally makes it impossible for him to be in Paldea to fuck with the professors. So it seems like a pretty clear-cut case, but people don't want to think at all. There's only one thing that worries me, because I've said before that there's hints for Terapagos' true nature plastered all over the base game, but there technically could be a hint for Dokutaro in the base game too. Not directly, just possibly, but it's there. In the lore books, there is a page talking about Area 0, and on the side is a peach. This game is absolutely full of all sorts of fruit, and if we said that every peach or apple or blueberry in the game was an intentional sign of the DLC, we'd probably be lying to and bullshitting ourselves. Basically be turning into FNAF theorists. Never go full FNAF theorist. No way they fully planned any of this when they finalized the base game story. I'm confident they planned all of Terapagos' shit before splicing it off for the DLC, but there's no way they planned both entire stories for both parts of the DLC when they were busy working on the main game. Bullshit. Regardless, that is definitely a peach being used as imagery for something in Area Zero. But I swear to God, if they left a metric fuck ton of intentional hints and clues pointing one way, just to reveal it as a red herring and make it a bitch we just learned existed, who, by all accounts, may very well have not feasibly even been able to, and then they say, oh, but we did leave a hint in the base game, and they show us that one small part of the one picture, I think I just stop existing. Because that wouldn't just mean that Terapagos' whole thing was a massive lol JK the whole time. Briar's story would be a red herring, and Gita's whole sus existence would be a red herring. They would literally have to say, everything we left in the base game was a red herring and you fell for it despite having no other reference points because we literally gave you virtually nothing. Get fucked lol. Why is that how you would tell your story? The literally everything is fake, bro, because we basically lied to you, bro. That honestly just makes it feel like all that time spent speculating and putting the pieces together was a waste, if they're just gonna tell you it doesn't matter. Actually, let's speculate. I think it might be possible that the trio of Gita, Briar, and Kieran are going to become some sort of dark reflection of our group, Nimona, Arvin, and Penny. Not in personality or exact goal, but they probably all want the treasure of Area Zero for themselves. Gita is super sus with her Glamora, which people speculate are going to be related to Dokutaro through mutation. Briar has literally been stated to want Terapagos, and Kieran might not only have reawakened Dokutaro from his slumber, but is being possessed by him. Given how Doku and the trio went all the way to Japan for the masks, they probably want the jewels. Doku probably does have a tiny fraction of Terapagos' manifestation power, but maybe wants more crystals to make himself stronger. Possibly once being nothing but a mere glimmet, he wouldn't know of Terapagos just yet. But through Blueberry's bullshit, especially Briar's, he finds out and thus uses Kieran. Thus, we may have 3 separate instances of 3 different people going down to Area Zero after Terapagos for their own reasons. Given how the teal mask was a tangible object in its DLC, it would make sense for the Indigo Disk to also be a tangible object we get in this DLC. Probably given to us by Briar or maybe even Gita. The disc itself secretly being Terapagos. We're told to go to the deepest depths of Area Zero, maybe even going through that locked door in the base game. Near the bottom, Terapagos awakens to his normal form. Maybe we even put him in some sort of machine or object to force him to awaken. With confirmation that Terapagos is real and is the disc, Gita or Briar now wants to capture him. Terapagos may turn into his crystal form and run off. As you continue going down, eventually both women, and eventually Dokutaro-possessed Kieran, all show up to confront Terapagos. At this point, as the code implies, we're with our trio of Nimona, Arvin, and Penny. Terapagos is now thoroughly pissed off, so he turns into his final form and kicks everyone else's asses. The evil trio fuck off and retreat, except maybe Briar, leaving us and our trio to deal with Terapagos alone. It's there where we learn the truth. That Terapagos is a manipulative cunt that fucked with Heath, made the Paradox Pokemon, but most importantly to us, fucked with Arvin's parents. With both sides wanting to kick each other's shit in, a battle initiates, inevitably ending in Terapagos' loss and capture. The day is saved, except wait, why the fuck did Kieran give a shit? He's just some kid who wanted to beat our ass in after taking his losses like a fucking chump. Well, as the code indicates, apparently, Arvin heads to Kitakami and makes the discovery, calling us and the rest of the trio there to him. It's there where we learn the final secret. Doku Taro, the source of the Loyal Three's toxic chain and the reason behind Kieran's strange behavior. We save Kieran, maybe have to save one of the others, and Terapagos' manifesting powers are further reconfirmed when the crystal pool starts spewing out dead people per the village's desire. We capture Doku Taro, solve the zombie crisis, and everything goes back to normal. That would actually be a really good way to keep Gita and Terapagos while including everything else and wrapping it up nicely. So that probably won't be what happens. Almost definitely not. Thankfully, the leaker said that the main story is completed before Doku Taro, which is hopefully a good sign. But those aren't the only rumors in the mill, because we're still talking about Gen 5 shit. And I just fucking can't. It's not just the fact that they would be breaking a well-established pattern, likely purely just for some quick cash. It's more the fact that, if it's real, it will be taking time and resources and basically everything away from Gen 10. And if that's not bad enough, apparently there are also rumors, maybe, about another Gen 2 thing, which literally only doubles the problem. I don't know, at this point, if Pokemon want to go ahead and shoot themselves in the stomach by splitting their team at least 2 ways while they work on Gen 10, and then Gen 10 turns out to be undercooked and rushed and shit, they have no one to blame but themselves. We tried to warn you! You wanna ruin Gen 10 and your 30th anniversary yourselves? Be my guest. Just don't be surprised at the inevitable result. It's also concerning when the least bad option is that they force Ilka to make faithful Gen 5 remakes. Or anything. Because I don't know if you noticed, Budspa is shit. Budspa is not only the worst of the remakes, it may be the second worst main series game after Sword and Shield. Maybe third if you take into account Scarlet and Violet barely being functional. The only reason it's not worse is because at least the original Diamond and Pearl was decent. Obviously Platinum is superior. I don't know, if these remakes are Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or Oras level, maybe I'll forgive them, but then, if Gen 10 is shit, we'll know why. And we'd have to live with the fact that, even if the Gen 5 remakes were good, they were artificially pushed forward in the pipeline and are basically responsible for Gen 10 being shit. I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in a world where Gen 10 is good and then the Gen 5 remakes come after like they should. Unintentional rhyme is unintentional. But the point still stands. Your move, Pokemon Company. But that's it. Took a little extra time on this video to focus on other stuff, including the theory video I mentioned in the last news video. Maybe give that a watch, please and thank you. But October legitimately did end, and there was nothing. There almost has to be news in November. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened before this video was posted. But that shit won't be included here because it's in another month. But I also wouldn't hold my breath because I literally said there would be something this month, and you can see how well that went. So here's hoping. I'm VGMaster2, and I hope to see you then. Haha! Psych? Kinda. So, you know how I said there would definitely be news in November, and how I said I wouldn't include it? Haha. Literally November 2nd, they casually fucking dropped the release date for Indigo Disk for no reason with nothing else. December 14th, which means I was wrong. 0 for 2, that's cool. Would have thought it would be fitting to release it right before the game's anniversary, but fuck that, I guess. Bumfuck middle of December. That works too. I'll probably go over this again in the next video. Assuming there'll even be a next video about info in November. Given how they just plopped this at our feet like it was nothing, it feels like they're keen on literally not giving us anything new before it drops. Which is bullshit, but sure. Anyway, that's really it this time. See ya.